or not.
It's the last one. I can't believe this is just the best of 3, Dino. I'll be honest. I feel like we've been here all day watching these teams go at it. It's been so tense. The games have gone so long. The fights have really been on a knife edge the entire time. And we are now down to game number 3. All for a shot in the main stage. The LFL feeling like they really ought to be there. And Partizan trying to keep this run alive. As they are going to spot Rilla here. And Clock's actually stepping up with Snilla, with Yoppa rotating over. Shinigari in the bad spot. That's to pop the flash early on. Clocks is going to be eyeing that one pretty hungrily.
This is huge, because I already said, like, if you land one Ridge line, the gank is actually fine, because the Xin Zhao that gets set up always has that threat of both the slow and the knock-up, and a lot of damage actually coming out in the early game if you disrespect him. And Shigenari wasting his flash there on an invade that spotted out because of the pathing that Yoppa took. It's actually a difference maker, because this is an aggressive early game bot lane, and they are now right up in your face, and you do not have your flash.
And remember the first bloods from game 1 and 2, Dino. It was
we're actually going.
Shigenari getting caught. They find the hook and they force the heal as well, but the hook will be blocked by Hantera. If that had connected onto Sivir, that would have been another 3 straight first bloods for Yoppa. But as it stands, they still get so much pressure in the lane.
And Yoppa and Clocks, they just called it. They are the ones actually representing the EBL as well in regards to country of birth, right? And they just called, like, okay, this bot lane is not an issue for us. We can actually steamroll them with the Xayah and the Not. If we get blue side, then we get the Xayah. And that was the gauntlet they threw. It takes away your comfort in the super duper late game where that hyper carry is way stronger, but it gives you comfort in this early game. As Qmont, even though he is covering bot side now, he's shadowing it, he does see the Sivir get put behind.
Yeah, the value has already been gained there minutes before those summoners come back, and Shigenari is going to have eyes all over the place to make sure he keeps himself topped up here. He could be the carry that Aegis need in this critical game 3, stepping in to take over from Lunet. But we can't be given the first bloods up every game, guys. We wanted this game to be faster, a little more decisive perhaps, and that's not the way to do it.
I mean, last time there was some jungle intervention, but
yeah.
I want to shout out Qmont, his jungle pathing. He quickly adapted. He cleared his entire bot side. Because the bot side is winning on the side of Yoppa and Clocks, the moment Shigenari wasted his flash, kind of, you knew that Snilla had windows to invade, and he just made sure that even Snilla was looking for it, and he did. He did look for it. He couldn't really get anything. The blue buff was gone, the grump was gone. It's an easy thing to do as a jungler, but it's also something that some junglers in a high pressure situation, definitely rookie junglers coming from an LFL 3, might overlook. I mean, the guy kind of failed the smite battle last game, but he's still on top of his game right now.
Certainly not intimidated by the pressure of this situation. A bit of a new peak position for Qmont as well, coming back up here to the EMEA Masters, acquitting himself very well so far in this play-in stage. He's now into that bot side river. Yoppa and Clocks have to be aware of this one. They've got the vision, they know. They've got vision all over the place to try and track this Jarvan. As Doctor flagged up, just pick Jarvan, make something happen. And Yoppa and Clocks do not want to be the recipient of that.
It's up to Partisans to keep this pressure up. I see Alessandra pressing in the mid lane. Eka actually went for a cheater recall to get the tier. Partisans, they are stacking in the bot side. Good vision there from Aegis to spot it out. Double vision, but the play here is not actually getting the dive off. The play here is just pushing Sivir off the tower, pushing Sivir off the waves, let the wave crash, and just keep that lead in the bot lane.
Qmont heading his way down bot lane as well. Partizan will have to keep their distance, pick up that plate. Bit of extra gold injection. Hantera maybe could look for the W in, but will allow them to step away. It's a cool, calm and collected play from Partizan again here. Not super flashy, but they're still always accruing those little advantages.
Yeah, this was actually beautiful. Good vision control as well to spot the Jarvan over the wall. And I heard them talk about the checklist, and this is how you do it. Lundorf in trouble. production is on it. Production is fixing it. Enjoy the game sound. I don't know when you actually hear what I'm saying, but
We might as well
first
keep
blood was
going
fine.
as though they can. So we will seamlessly run back in. And then we are now back in right here. No one noticed. Everyone just had a collective mass hallucination there, but nothing happened. Don't worry about it. And Aegis runs the dragon.
That's perfect for Lundorf because then he didn't die in a straight up tank 1v1 where he just kind of mispositioned, kind of walked out of position, ate decimating smash, and then, but yeah, that all didn't happen. It was just one hallucination. And then if you look at the gold leads, hey, I know this story. I've seen this before.
It's impossible. They literally just don't obey the laws of the universe, Dino. I don't know how they do it. They lose the dragon, they lose the kill. Still even in gold, still up in gold by about 50 by the look of how those numbers are going forward. And I guess a lot of that is in Yoppa's pocket because, you know, Lundorf has been a very reliable lane winner for them in this series, but Yoppa has as well, and he's still very much in that position.
I mean, the man is up in last hits. The man took a plate out of that tower, and that was, I have to say, the slip up from Lundorf. It's kind of sad because how Partisans were playing, it was so good. This could be a teaching moment for a lot of teams watching, like maybe teams from ESLO. I'm just saying, hey, you just pressure the dive, but you don't go for the dive. That's how you play around a very good bot lane. Like, you still look for it. Like, if they mess up, they're out of position, go ahead and execute. Make sure you're safe, pressure the dive, push the Sivir off, take the last hits, crash the tower, your minions into the tower, and you're just putting Shigenaria behind. This works in solo queue, by the way, as a jungler, but you need your mid lane to join, and that's a bit difficult.
Maybe in the duo queue, it could work when you can say, all right, we're going for this. There's the Spell Shield on the dredge line that we flagged up before. Clocks takes a fair old chunk of damage, and they can't find anything for that, so the Sivir paying off a little bit here, down as they may be. We did see last game was Shigenari getting all that gold invested on the Jinx, and that ended up working out at the 42-minute mark or so, even though it did not look like it was going to. So perhaps this investment into that bot lane carry will pay off for Partizan in the same way. Oh, hang on. What a 2v2 developing, but the hook lands onto Hantera this time, and Shigenari still level 5. Yoppa still has the Featherstorm ready, by the HUD at least, but that damage lead is not in their favor.
That was actually a rough trade for Partisans, even though they landed a couple of dredge lines there. Aegis found an opening, they put the pressure forward, but Yoppa still has the ult. The Hantera needs to be really careful, doesn't have the flash.
Yeah,
one dredge line could spell doom.
Could find this pick in the burst. There it is with the blade caller, and Clocks picks it up. You could see Hantera, he was so hesitant to step into it. Oh, this feels dangerous, guys. And he was absolutely right. We've all had that situation. A flash from Clocks, burns the spell shield into dredge line. Still in, flashing to follow up. Finds the audacious charge. And Shigenari, does he have the distance? Has he made it to safety? Flashing from Yoppa will secure this kill. And there's the bot lane lead that we know and love from Partizan.
Yoppa, absolute giga chat flash over the wall there. Sadly, we pan to the top side to lose our top laner, but I mean the bot side is won, and that was the target of this game. That was the target of this draft. I was so excited I unplugged my own earbuds, so I don't know what you said to me, but I don't care because that was an amazing bot lane fight.
It really was. Clocks played that to perfection, using the vision, bursting the shields in the right order, and Yoppa ready to flash in to secure it. Skumond on the other side, making sure there is pressure going down, and it's a second death for Lundorf now. He's going to be far behind the curve than Lot, who will be very tanky on this Scion. Whether it will be tanky enough to deal with the Fed Yoppa, we shall wait and see. But Skumond again continues the Herald's control, and that general topside, which has been his domain in this series.
And for Cho'Gath falling behind in that 1v1 first and then getting ganked, it's a bit of a rough patch, definitely, because if you look at your team comp, you definitely are the only one walking up and you're going to eat a lot of damage in the mid to late game, so it's not comfortable, but it's not the worst, because you traded for the pressure in the bot side, you traded for this Xayah that's now 1-0-1, and that's something that had to happen. Like, if this Xayah just went even with a Sivir, you're not really feeling comfortable going into that mid game. In the mid lane, we see a farm fest happening, so you really wanted that lead. And it also means that the Jarvan right now, even though Skumond picked up the Herald and is doing his best, it didn't really have the biggest of impacts. And that's something we want to track now. Is like, okay, Skumond, you have your Cataclysm ready again. Where are we going to invest it? If he gets off a good gank bot lane and they invest the Rift Herald, they can instantly turn that gold lead up on its head again. They can put the Sivir up for success. So I'm going to track the next moves of Skumond and see if he can actually make it work.
He's He's heading down onto the bot side now, and Partizan are ready and waiting with the Dragon up in 20 seconds as well. We have seen the one-to-one Dragon trades in both games up to this point. Partizan looking to continue that trend as they're investing a lot of time into this. But as you said, Skewmond, they've got the tools. They've got the Shockwave Jarvan combo. They've got Rakan Ultimate. If they want to make something of this, they have all the tools that their comp has drafted. And it's up to Partizan to deal with that one.
Partizan. We're on the brink of destiny. They still are. They just need one more game against Aegis, but this game again is a nail biter. Oh, Real is the target.
Snilla not committed. He's going to keep on rolling down there onto Snilla. Gets the knockup at the very end and follows up with the Decimator Smash. It's such a massive stun! But the jungler from Partizan is down. Clock's locked up in the Cataclysm. It's going to be a clean double kill for Shiganari, and that's what he needed. He's back in the game now.
It's a disaster scenario for the Partisans because Lundorf even TP'd in, and Lot playing that beautifully with the Scion. They look for the engage on Rilla first. He claws over the wall and then you're like, okay, that's good. But actually, it made it so that there's the members disadvantage. Oh, this is smart. This is smart, Lundorf.
Hit this Rupture. Who do they go for? Silence onto Hantera. Look at the burst! Oh my goodness. Lundorf picks up a kill for himself, and these bot lane brushes are not being kind to Aegis in this game.
I mean, you can win EMEA Masters all you want, Hantera, but you've never faced Lundorf and Yoppa on one team, and my god, the Cho Daddy in the bush was not expected. Just chomps your HP away. That was great, because he had to catch something for his TP, and this actually stifles the grow a little bit that Aegis was getting out of that Scion robe. If you look at Lotto, he's playing out of his mind right now. 2-0-2, 100% kill participation. It was a great play in the river with the Scion. The knockup finding it right at the edge, and Partizan's a bit caught off guard, and that's uncharacteristic rather. We heard them say he had confidence in his old boys, that they had the mental. They know how to reset after a loss, but they've done a lot. They've won NLC, they've won their own region. They've never, ever been this close to EMEA Masters main stage as this team. I mean, Yoppa has had a track record, but this team hasn't. So in that regard, it's a different beast. It's a different amount of stress, and maybe it was getting to them a little bit, but then catching that kill in the bot lane, that is something that is huge at
That's the
times.
key, right? It really does. It's been that story all the way through this game. Both teams are able to find these picks and these plays in the early game, but the other team is so quick to fire back with the kills, keeping the gold even one way or another, and that trend has continued into this game. We saw the Herald dropped in mid, gets a little bit of gold into Ica's pocket on the Orianna as well. Picked up a couple of assists and did have a massive shockwave in that game-winning fight in Game 2. This man not to be underestimated by any means. Even denied the Cassiopeia. He's going to be healthy with that one. And Rilla was much more on the flank game in Game 2. He had the massive angles that he was finding, at least in the first half of that game. But Aegis got kind of wise to it as the game went on. And we'll see if they continue to have his number in this third deciding game.
It's gonna be a tense one. Again. 3 games that promises to deliver. Okay, Snilla.
Flashed on by Snilla. We're just ripping it. Rilla goes in. Lovely stasis by the Orianna to stifle that play. And here comes the return. There's the combo. Oh my goodness. That was massive. Double for Ica, and Aegis had everyone ready to fire back.
It looks like Aegis just needed 2 very long games to wake up in this series, because Partisans, they tried to force something in the mid lane. You said it right. Like, they're just gripping and ripping it. They're just trying to get, like, too fast, too loose for Aegis to actually follow. The problem is Lundorf TP'd in at the Dragon, and Lot still at his TP, and Aegis. The moment Aegis calls out the shots, it's like, I'm getting ganked. They go in, they TP in, they go for the combo. And you see that even Yoppa isn't safe in that regard. And that's why I was kind of sad they showed the Nautilus so fast as well. The moment a Jarvan gets locked in, and you could have expected the Jarvan of Skillmont, Nautilus does really bad against Jarvan. Like, he can't feel his AD carry at all. Jarvan just goes in with a Cataclysm. It's like, that stops everything you try to do in Dredge Line. It's not going to work. You're hitting terrain. So you need to walk in, maybe use your dip charge on a Jarvan. That feels awkward. And it's not like that changed the play here, but we saw it twice already, where if Jarvan gets on Yoppa, Xayah is bad against Jarvan. Like, it's fun in games to have your ulti, but you can't jump the wall with it, and you kind of get left alone. So a Thresh would have been great. I don't want to harp into that draft difference too much. It was just a good play, heads-up play from Aegis. The moment Snilla thinks he can force the issue in the mid lane, the stopwatch, and then instant TP from Lot, not a second wasted, and they catch the play.
That is even more gold into Aika's pocket. Now 2-0-2 himself after getting that plate gold. He is decidedly richer than his counterpart in Rilla, who's getting his recall cancelled. The Scumon coming in to slow him down even further. Glacial Path isn't quite getting back to the tower. He's locked in the Cataclysm as well. And he's just going to get picked apart. It's going from bad to worse for Partizan. They'll get the Constellation Herald up in topside, but the plays are decidedly going against them now.
It's kind of spiraling out of control right now. And it's all due to the spear point of Aegis, due to Scumon on his Jarvan. He's actually ahead of the play, along now with Hantera, trying to make things happen in the enemy jungle, taking full control. And this is the biggest lead we've ever seen at 70 minutes. And it's not a huge lead. I mean, it's 3,000 gold to Dragons. It's nothing to look over, but it's not huge by any accounts in comparison to other League of Legends games. But for this series, this is a very big discrepancy. And for Partisans, it has to feel a little bit bad, because they got side selection, they went to the blue side, and then suddenly it's spiraling a bit out of control. It's a more early game focused game, and Aegis is inching ahead and taking a soul point.
We'll take the Chemtech soul point, as you say, but the gold lead again is going to shrink because we have the Herald being popped in topside. They took that tower already. Psyonot committed to try and cancel this. Will probably end up saving the tower, or maybe not. The offer's there to finish it. And that is an inner as well for the bonus gold to be picked up. So now down to 2,000 is the lead, but that is such an early soul point. 3 soul points to play with for Aegis before Partizan even has a look in. And at such an early stage, this is going to be very difficult for Partizan to rotate around.
Partisans do make the heads up play there, thinking on their toes. Oh, my better position.
Classic Partizan Death Rush, and there's the route onto Lot. They're going to get the shutdown onto Lundorf. TP's committed in, and they have a tower to step back to. I feel like they're out clean. The TP was a bit ambitious from Ica. I feel like Aegis needs to just never go near another brush in this game, and they'll probably be right.
They just need to realize that brushes are dangerous. Clogs knows that. Instant takes Blast Cone, good Scrying Bloom there to spot out the rotating member of Aegis, and they will lose their tower for it because they kind of have trouble staying in range of Shiganari and Ica, so the TP wasn't completely wasted.
Yeah, works out.
The beautiful thing for Lundorf is he gets a tasty stack. Cho'Gath players are always happy when they get to take the kill. If it's a shutdown, feels a bit weird, but I mean, you get more stacks, it will become way more tanky. He already has 8, which is decent. I mean, at 18 minutes, 30 seconds, he's actually playing really well. So the 2 kills he got were two kills with the ulti as well. I just don't think a tanky Cho'Gath is going to save you. And this is the issue I had with the comp of Partisans. If it doesn't go great in the early game, if you have an even game going into the late game, you'll have way more issues than the last comp. Not every member peels for himself. Not every member is a threat. Not every member does damage. Due to bans that Aegis also threw at the Gwen, by the way. But for Aegis, it's actually the same. We can just front to back, send Scumon with the primary engage, send Lot in as a front line, and then Shiganari and Aika can, from behind, make sure they deal out the damage.
After another slow start, a rough start for Shiganari and a slow start for Aika, they are in a good position way earlier this time, before the 20-minute mark. They're both topped up on kills. Aegis, Aika, in fact, already on those 2 completed items. The Andrews and the Seraphs fully stacked. He is very strong right now. The shockwaves are going to hurt. As he described it, as a win more champion, they are in a position to start winning more.
Yeah, my gripes with Orianna will never end. I used to love the champion in early League of Legends, but right now, feels like a win more champion, but if the setup is there. Like, it's the thing is, you need to surprise a champion with a shockwave, with ball positioning, and 9 times out of 10 in this season, a champion has like 3 to 4 dashes, so it gets harder and harder, but right now, it's actually a good setup for the Orianna. The Orianna of Ica is ahead, and we've seen what that guy can do when he's ahead. Like on this first game on Cassiopeia, he was one of the main reasons that Aegis made a close game out of it, that Partisans had to fight for that victory, and now sporting a 2-0-2 on the Orianna, I kind of fear for this Partisan lineup. It would sting for them to become so close, and then just the last hurdle, not quite able to jump over it.
This is gonna have to be the true test of the mental that Dem told us about. The unflappable nature of these 5 players to always keep their heads up, always understand where their win conditions are. Go back to that checklist, you know. There's still ways to play this game out for sure. You can see those Death Brush are working out. They've got the damage still at this point to eviscerate the Scion, who has had a great start, who is up in kills, up in CS, very much ahead of the curve. But if he's caught out of position, that's the beauty of the Xayah with the Kraken Slayer, who has now hit 2 items in the well. You can still burn through anyone who does step out of position, and that is how Partizan won game 1. It was Ica stepping out of position, and they were ready to punish him.
100%. You also have the backup of a Cho'Gath just munching your HP bar as if it's not even there. And it was a good play for them to make. And the checklist never fails. It's just a checklist. You need to check off boxes, but it stays the same. Same goes for Aegis. They have been invading this bot side pretty heavily. Good ward there from Partisans to spot it out. But are we abandoning the checklist? Are we trying to catch Aegis off guard with a Baron sneak?
Yeah. Well, I don't see this on the checklist. I'm looking for it. I'm scrolling through it, but I don't see the Baron rip
when in
at
doubt,
22
sneak
minutes.
Baron. No, I'm trying to find
vision.
it as well. But
yeah, I'm not sure where we saw this one. I mean, I say on vision. Aegis are rotating over it somewhat slowly. Hanteria will find this out with the pink ward, and now Skewmond instantly cues in with the Silver ult. They realize, but Rilla, that's the flank. Have they baited them into the trap? Rilla goes in, depth charge. Baron still's already taken by Partizan. Do they want to fight? Do they want to run? The Cataclysm gives them no choice. Those top line sides of Partizan will be sacrificed, but it's 2 for Baron. Is that worth? We call him worth?
I think just to keep this game alive, it's probably not worth because the dragon is up. Sadly, that's the sole point. Yeah, that makes it more difficult. It's a sad. Like I think actually they tried to abandon it after taking the Baron. They tried to run out. Maybe they should have opted for that flank from Rilla because it could have been huge, but they feel like they're too far behind to actually pull that trigger. After investing the ulti of Lundorf to take the Baron, they were like, we don't have the damage or something in that regard. But the sad part is the play took a bit too long. It gives over the Chemtech Soul. I think Aegis can stall it out. They can stall this Baron out. It does buy you time. And I have to say, I'm not the biggest Chemtech Soul fan.
I don't think anyone is, honestly.
Yeah,
no one seems to feel the impact of this one.
I think you kind of need to change it a bit where the damage reduction comes online if you're supposed to die. But that's tough to code, so we'll see if they ever do it. The problem is right now for the Cho'Gath, it gets a bit harder to assassinate someone with the feast. For Partisans in general, it's really hard to use this Baron buff, so they need to make it count. They gave over a soul for it. They just need to find some towers, need to find some gold lead, need to find a play on Hanteria.
That brush and Skewmond is in the pit waiting to see if Partizan chase him any further. Yoppa heading down the river. Ica ready to drop a shockwave. We know he is. Rilla has the TP, but it's not close. Skewmond commits. He's over the wall. In comes the Lissandra and Lockline in with the ultimate. Lundorf's very tanky right now. He's absorbing that damage, but he's still burning down. And Rilla trying to get into position. Need to find these carries. It's on to Ica. Do they have the burst? Yoppa wants to find the range, but beautiful charm from Hanteria completely stifles Yoppa. And the team fight falls apart for Partizan. The Quadra for Shiganari, and it becomes the Penta. What a statement to make for the LFL 3rd seed, and they are marching down bot lane.
And when we were doubting the power of the LFL 3rd seed, they just stand up. They needed 2 games to actually wake up this series, and Partisans, with all the might they tried, they couldn't topple this giant. Aegis takes complete control over the game now. Pentakill going over to Shiganari just to add some salt to the wound, and it was a painful fight for Partizan fans to watch, but they're going out fighting, and that's something you need to remember. Even if they lose this game, they put up like an amazing fight. They almost made it. For all intents and purposes, they should have won the 2nd game, but Aegis, to come back from those first 2 games, I mean, you start with your team manager on the Zillion that actually plays a really good game, but I mean, it's a bit weird. You lose that one. Okay, brush it off. 2nd game, you almost lose it. You have to clutch it out in the end in a 40-minute slap fest. But you win. To then come into this game with this confidence, with this team fights against Partisans picking the blue side and actually outplaying them in the early to mid game and in the team fights for the first time, it shows that they have the resolve to actually make it to the main stage, and that they also have the capacity, something that Demp was doubting a bit on the desk, to adapt in a series, and that's going to be huge for the rest of the tournament.
As we spoke about Partizan's resolve, we have to acknowledge Aegis, as you say. They have shown great resilience here today, and they have also shown the veterancy and the skill of some of these players. Ica, Hanteria, Skewmond as well, activated on this Jarvan. And Shigenari coming in late into the series, 1 game down, pops off in that fight with the pentakill on Sivir, accelerates the 3 items plus the stopwatch, and the map is Aegis to play as they wish. Partizan, they do still have tools to find fights, but they're so far down against the Chemtech Soul, against the Clutching Soul. It really feels almost undoable.
It's gonna be a very tough one to crack, but a game is never over until the Nexus falls. I'm looking at Rilla, and it's a game he wants to forget real fast right now, but he made some clutches happen already in these series, and he looked for two very good flanks. The first one around Baron, it was like the team deciding not to pull the trigger, otherwise he would have been on top of Shigenari. The second one with the TP, he maybe wanted too much.
For Rilla, doesn't get knocked up by the Scion. We'll just root away with the Everfrost. And Terra's on the flank though, looking for Yopper. Out comes the Snilla ultimate to slow him down. Lot absorbing that front line. Rilla buying so much time. Yopper stepping up now to deal the damage, but Steel's in. Blinding with the Cataclysm, and Shigenari goes legendary. All of these stopwatches buying so much time for Aegis as Yopper finally finds one as Lundorf is burned through by the now 10 kill Sivir. The Boomerang Blade lands him another triple, and this could be the last push.
And when we were dreaming about a rags to riches for Partizan Esports, let's just take a moment to take a step back and look at Skewman. His last game, 0-0-16. He was a little bit invisible in the second one, but now in the third game, a guy coming straight from LFL 3rd Division. It's about to make EMEA Masters main stage. What can Partisans do?
Snilla's in, but he's already down, and Yopper, the last alive, he will be allowed to keep this game going as the wave is still coming in. And he has scared them away by his mere presence in the lane. As Aegis will peel back. The Baron's up in 20 seconds. The Elder's up in 1 minute. It's not technically over, Dino.
It's not over, but it's so close to being over.
I tell you, I'm looking at Dem's face cam and it kind of feels like it's over. I don't know.
Don't look too much. Don't look too much. The man is disappointed that, but he should be really proud about his team. I mean, the story, the fairy tale, it wrote itself. It was just the last step was one too big to take, it looks like. With the Chemtech Soul and the Baron, I think Aegis is going to look to one final push to do something that we all expected for the LFL 3rd seed to actually make EMEA Masters main stage, but they have to fight for it. And other regions are looking at this and they know like it's doable. This LFL teams are beatable. We figured that out last EMEA Masters. Let's just keep that trend going.
Exactly, it is possible. The paradigm has shifted a lot into EMEA Masters as the Elder Dragon comes down to roost in the pit with the Baron empowered, ready for Aegis, and they are going to contest it, it seems. Partizan, we need to find this Sivir. You gotta find that Orianna. They don't have all the stopwatches that they did last time, but Sivir still does, so remember that. And Sivir is piecing out this entire fight, just going for the mid push.
Yeah, he can end. Clinch your checklist. The Nexus needs to be standing to win the game. That's number one. So Shigenari just waltzing the minions in with the Baron buff. Now they can go for the Elder, and they're pulling Partisans apart on the map. They know exactly where they are. Dead bushes are not going to work. Skewman is in.
Skewman's in. He's on to Yopper right now, but Team isn't there to follow up. He's already dead. Lundorf chomps him down. And it's a 4v5 for now, but still a very winnable one. Rilla's not here. He has Smite, not TP. As Snilla is going ever lower. There's the Shockwave and Legendary Shigenari, the 4v5. Aegis will happily take it as the double is locked up and clocks. Surely to be picked up next. He can't get the second Penta as Aegis says, hang on, I deserve some recognition. And Rilla goes for the last gestural flank. Will dodge away with the Glacial Path. But this will be the end as the ace is secured. The Partizan rocket ship finally runs out of fuel as Aegis will continue the LFL comeback tour as they qualify back to the main stage.
It is business as usual for the LFL, but it wasn't supposed to be this close. Partisans, they put up a great fight, but Aegis, they are the rightful winners of that EMEA Master spot, and they are going on to that second phase. We salute Partisans because they put up an amazing fight, but the way Aegis